What is going on, everybody? Welcome into Alarm Fantasy Football. I'm Howard Bender. Look at that. I've got Britt Flynn and Ernie Acosta in disguise today, right down there.
Earn Dog? Unbelievable, dude.
You could very well be Earn Dog today. Andrew Cooper, of course, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We got the band back together. It's like we did this yesterday also for at least a brief part of the show, but we're back from the Fantasy Football Expo. We got a lot of ground to cover between now and the start of the regular season. But we're gonna have a little fun today. Listen, we're gonna get to your news. We're gonna get to your highlights. We're gonna talk some ADP. Did I just say talk? We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk some ADP, right? I'm channeling my inner Linda Richmond, darling. Do me a favor. The Holy Roman Empire. It was neither holy nor Roman nor even an empire. Discuss.
Please don't talk to me before I have my coffee. Get my Powerball ticket.
I'm at a carnation. I don't know how I'm going to drink my coffee now. But anyway, listen. Well, you know what? Actually, speaking of food or beverages or anything like that, we're going to be doing a little fun comparison. We're going to take football players, and we're going to tell you what kind of food best represents that player. We're going to do a little food and football pairings today. So if you guys have one of your own, by all means, throw it into our chat. If you're watching us here on YouTube, well, you better be smashing that like and subscribe button. You better be sharing this with the rest of your peoples here because, well, you know, we want to win as many fantasy championships as we possibly can this year. I mean, we've set the bar.
Millionaire Mike moved the bar pretty high when he won $1 million using the playbook. So now there's many bars. There's many bars, right?
Many bars. I want multiple championships for us. I want multiple championships for FA Nation, and I want multiple DFS wins. And I mean big ass wins, big. Scott Frankel, pressure's on you, dude. You've won an RT Sports Championship entry fee, so you better be winning that one as well. So don't screw it up. Mr. Scamper's in the house. He wants talk time here also. Love it. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Britt, Coop, how you guys doing? Britt, you were at Pantera last night. I don't know what your deal is. So
just a Tuesday Pantera.
It up at the expo. Then you come back home on Monday. You do work on Monday. You do shows on Monday. And then last night, after doing shows again throughout the day, you land at a Pantera show. Are you okay? Are you all right? Blink twice if Sellers has you kidnapped or something like that and is dragging you to heavy metal stuff.
No, I actually love heavy metal. That's how Sellers and I kind of bonded. We love everything. Normally, you know, if I wasn't older and super sore, I would have been in the pit. But I'm old and tired. So I enjoyed my VIP seats and just got to watch everybody else. And yeah, I stayed away from it. But it was very fun people watching.
Yeah, I actually had a very similar night last night. Yeah.
You did
very similar to your Pantera pit story. I actually stayed at home with my newborn child and stayed up all night. So we were rocking and rolling. It got pretty loud, just like your concert did, and I didn't get much sleep. So probably very similar experiences.
Yeah. You know what? I slept like a baby last night, like an absolute baby.
Don't even say that. Don't even say like a baby.
I bounced from show to show. I was sitting on the couch by like 9 o'clock. My head started doing the bob and weave, and the wife was like, "You know what? It's time for bed." I was like, "Yeah." And then she put me to bed and then sat and watched TV on her own for like another 2 hours, apparently.
That sleep like a baby thing is such a lie, dude. Unless you're talking about somebody who gets up every 3 hours and starts screaming, right? Like that's how babies sleep,
man. Well, that's what my prostate does in the middle of the night. So, and it's actually every 2 hours.
So you did sleep like a baby.
Thanks so much for bringing that up there. All right, let's get to some fantasy football talk. Let's get to some NFL speak. Let's talk about, that's right, everybody's favorite, the popcorn headlines, the injury updates. Earn Dog, let me hear my news ticker. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the news on Alarm Fantasy Football with your host, Britt Flynn.
Thank you so much, Howard. Not a lot going on today as far as actual news, but Richie James is getting more first team work after his training camp and preseason game flashes. We talked a little bit about him yesterday, but is there a chance that he ends up starting for the Chiefs? And if so, what are your expectations for him?
How much did Matt Deutsch pay you to have that be the top headline
The
today?
lead story.
How much was the lead story is Richie
Did
James?
you get like better sports gear or something like a hat and a shirt sent to you or something for that?
I didn't.
Unbelievable,
It was
dude.
actually one of the top stories on NFL.com. Deutsch had nothing to do with that headline, actually.
Unbelievable. It is funny though. I swear, every like 2 weeks something comes out that kind of leans Matt Deutsch's way. I remember seeing a NFL next gen stat that was about bring catch rate on catchable balls, and the entire list was like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, and the number one name on the list was Richie James. Like, so maybe they're on to something.
I mean, is Richie James that much different from Sky Moore or Kadarius Toney though?
No, he's
That's
the exact same.
that's my situation. I
He's the
think
same
that
except
he is
worse.
the same profile, and so it's going to be which one of them comes out ahead, or maybe they just interchange all of them.
He
And
has
they're
cooler
like, you go
hair.
play a snap, you go play a snap. I don't know if any of those three actually come out as like the top dog.
Yeah,
He is
me
the
neither.
undisputed coolest hair on the team, depending how it looks at any given time. Sometimes it looks kind of weird, but usually it looks pretty cool.
Oh, really?
I haven't
that
even seen
Mahomes
his hair.
broccoli.
Oh, Richie
His
James.
broccoli.
Richie James got some crazy hair. Like every once in a while, he does something where he's got like just 4 giant dreads. He looks like a spider. Sometimes he does the crazy colors. Like, you got to check out some Richie James, man. The hair game is on lock over there.
I mean, I've seen Kadarius Toney's here. Maybe they're having a hair competition as well as
Hair
a starting job competition. Oh man.
What else we
Uh,
got?
Yeah, so Dolphins defensive tackle Christian Wilkins is staging a hold-in as his contract talks haven't gotten anywhere. Would it be another blow to the Dolphins defense, or can they kind of figure it out?
Interesting, man. Christian Wilkins is a great player, man. At Clemson, I believe he was. But yeah, that's this time of year, man, that's no good to have guys like that hold out, because he is a huge part of that defense. As a Patriots fan, let's pay the man. Give him whatever he wants. Or I think he should probably sit out at least the first 5 weeks or so.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say. I mean, yeah, it would be a blow to the run defense. That was one of the things that Miami really wanted to make sure that they stopped, and that's one of the things that about a Vic Fangio defense. He really prides himself on that defensive line. Because he wants to be able to help, stuff the run while freeing up the edge rushers to kind of come around to have the secondary, whether it's going to be in press man coverage or in zone coverage, to be able to cover that. So he really likes plug in the middle. I think it would be a little bit of a bummer. I'm still drafting the Miami defense as one of my prime defenses, because I still think that they are incredibly underrated in the fantasy game.
Yeah, I think so too. Also, selfishly, I want to say that if Wilkins does sit out, we're going to miss some golden mic'd up moments, because that dude is funny when he's mic'd up. So I hope that he comes back and plays, just so we've got some entertainment outside of football. So the Saints released wide receiver James Washington. Anybody care about James Washington?
No. Former Steeler, Cowboy. Nah, we can forget about James Washington.
I mean, how the mighty have fallen. He got so much hype. Like, that was one of the big names. This is like, James Washington came into the NFL kind of similarly to the way Corey Davis came in. Everybody's raving about what he did in college, and then he does nothing. And he's completely overrated. And I think that that's obviously something that you have to watch coming in when you're drafting a lot of these young rookies.
And you have to wonder if it's an attitude thing, because honestly, right now, there's not a whole lot of reasons to release guys, right? Like, you are allowed to have 90 guys at camp, right? So there's got to be some particular reason in most cases to release these guys. Also, the pup list rules right now are do whatever you want, right? Put the guys on it, take them off, doesn't really matter. So for him to get released at this moment, there has to be something tied to it. Besides, even if you stink, they can just wait until the deadline and cut you. So if they're cutting you right now, there's got to be something going on there.
Yeah, and then you factor in the depth, with Rashid Shaheed and Traquan Smith and their groin injuries, and you're still cutting him. So
Yeah.
there's definitely something no bueno there.
Not good. What do you have for
All
popcorn,
right.
Britt? That's
Yeah.
what the people want. The people
Hype.
want the hype. They want the hype.
Yum, 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 yum.
There is hype here, and I love this particular piece of hype after drafting Bijan Robinson in the Queen's Classic. The Athletics' Josh Kendall believes Tyler Algier will see 170 touches in 2023. His prediction for Bijan Robinson is 301. Are we so? No, who put that in the chat? I'm so sorry. No, this is so bad. Ernie, can you
What?
bring that up? Traylon Burks carded off right now.
Oh, geez.
Is that true?
I don't know. It just popped up in the chat.
Burks
Yeah,
limped off
Scampers.
practice just now, holding left knee. Boy, geez.
No.
Oh.
No good. No good.
Schefter,
Okay.
Schefter
you know what?
tweeted it.
You know what? It's fine. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. It's okay. Devontae
There's,
Adams.
there's Britt sitting in the fires of hell with a cup of coffee in her hand. It's fine. It's fine.
That's the opposite of popcorn headlines.
It
right?
is the
She walks in
opposite.
Right.
This was like my popcorn just caught on fire in the microwave.
Yeah. I mean, we got to talk about it. Randy Miller asked Hopkins season. I mean, it goes to Hopkins, it goes to Chig. No, you hate for it to happen that way, but I mean, they don't really have much else. They might even, considering they've committed now to competing now, if there's anything serious, they might be in the market for adding people because they are too thin to be losing anybody right now.
Yeah, 100%. And Mr. Scampers does make a good positive point. Just remember that all players get carted off. Justin Ross was carted off yesterday and was back at practice today. So hopefully it's just a precautionary.
Perfect time for
situation.
Sellers to join the chat. Sellers,
Right.
turn around. And Randy Miller asked if you drafted him. It's a lot more than that. If you look closely at that ball behind her, that's a autographed Traylon Burks Arkansas ball. If it was just a draft, it wouldn't be that big a deal. This is a deeper commitment.
Yeah, this is deep. This hurts me to my core. Sellers, that's not the news I'm wanting to see. I'm leaving.
I know, dude. Wrong time to pop back in. bud.
All right.
He's like, I'm going back to mowing the lawn, even though I did it yesterday.
Yeah, I'm gonna come home from work and mow the lawn just to avoid this.
So
Okay.
almost 500 touches for the running backs is what you were saying for
Yeah.
the Falcons. I mean, that'd be wild. And how many does he have Matt Collins predicted for? 3?
I didn't see Matt Collins mentioned.
Yeah, I didn't either. I saw the, I saw what we were looking at there. I just, I mean, it was kind of interesting that really puts Tyler Algier at 10 touches per game, which does, I mean, it seems like a lot in my opinion. That's why I to be perfectly honest, I thought that I would see Bijan getting, 320, 330. I thought they were going to, between, because we're not just talking carries, we're talking touches here.
Right.
So I figured you're going to be utilized in the passing game as well as that. And so I thought that number would be up a little bit. I mean, 10 touches for Tyler Algier, it still seems like a lot. Maybe I'm wrong, but still
to put in perspective, 170 touches. A guy like Jerick McKinnon last year, I think he had 70 or so carries and 70 or so or 71 targets. So he was sitting at if we just count the carries and the actual receptions, he was sitting at 120. So, and he was relevant for a good chunk of the season. So 170, that means, that type of prediction means this guy's going to be in lineups.
Yep, I hope so because I've got him handcuffed to Bijan in Queen's Classic. So, I would be totally down for that.
Your RB1, if I remember correctly, Bijan's your RB1 and Algier's your RB3 in that draft.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Oh, there you go.
Which I fully believe that they are not going to switch offensive identities. Scampers, don't tell me that. Everybody stop. I'm going to put my blinders on in the chat.
I've actually got I've got the video here. I'm going to push this over to Earn Dog in the chat and see if he can't bring this video up just so that we can take a look at it. We're not trying to upset you here, Britt. We're not trying to upset you.
I know it's news. We have to cover it.
Deep breaths.
Let's finish. Let's do a little more popcorn news to make us feel better, and then we'll play the video during the injury segment, which we got coming up.
Yeah. All right. So the Colts GM Chris Ballard, when asked about the Jonathan Taylor situation, said we need to get him healthy before we do anything. So, I mean, are they actually concerned about his injury, or do they just not want to pay him? because that to me seems like people get contract extensions all the time. You don't have to get him healthy before you pay him.
That has me a little concerned. You look at a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, where they talked about the foot, and then the foot wasn't ready, and they had to change the details of the contract. That doesn't sound like, oh, even a broken bone, you sit there and say, oh, well, that will heal completely, so we might not worry about it. With this, I mean, if you need to get him healthy and see that he's healthy to pay him, does that worry you, Howard? That worries me a little bit.
That I'm kind of on the fence with this whole situation, because I'm not really sure if Jonathan Taylor is kind of using this as like, hey, keep seeing what life's going to be like without me. And because I mean, we know that he had the procedure to fix up, or at least clean out his ankle during the off season. It does seem like it's a little bit lengthy of a time, based on what they said about the procedure, based on what they said after the procedure was done. It seems like this is kind of an excessively long time for it, that I do wonder how that there is some sort of gamesmanship going on.
Yeah, not good.
Truly not great. All right. So Kyle Shanahan wants Trey Lance to let it rip and stop being so hesitant. But is the issue hesitancy, or is it his skill set? Because I kind of believe that it might just be his skill set.
I mean, everybody deals with the injury like that differently. And, I mean, just to kind of equate it to baseball in the sense, Ronald Acuna, when he came back from, his ACL injury, talked about the fact that he was so gun shy in the box when he first came back, that it affected his swing. And he was, because he was kind of nervous about, like really just making that cut and, and pivoting off of that knee. He said, after a little, after some time spent in the cage, he felt a little more comfortable, and then he let it go. So, I mean, listen, maybe it's just, Trey Lance is a little nervous about getting his leg blown up again, in that sense. And if Shanahan sees that he is hesitant, I mean, listen, I think Shanahan's a pretty good judge of stuff like that as far as watching it. So, I mean, again, I'm gobbling up shares of Brock Purdy like super late in drafts right now.
We just did the dynamic rankings. I moved him way up. I think I moved him all the way up to 19 or 20, and maybe even high. We might have to go higher, Howard. How high are you thinking for a guy like Purdy right now? If it's looking set in stone, he's going to be the starting quarterback for the 49ers. The guys I had trouble moving him ahead of was that tier of like Geno Smith and Jared Goff and Daniel Jones, but I was willing to move him ahead of Kenny Pickett, Jordan Love, that whole gang. So I moved him ahead of Matt Stafford, I believe. I moved him way up. I mean, would you rather have like a Geno Smith or a Brock Purdy?
I mean, I kind of put them together. Go ahead, Britt.
I was going to say, I think the ceiling is higher with Geno, but the floor is more stable with Purdy. Yeah, so I think they are kind of in that same situation. It just depends on what you're looking for.
I mean, again, we can always go back and take a look at, where is Deebo Samuel being drafted? Where is Brandon Ayuk being drafted? Where is George Kittle being drafted? If these guys are all, that high up and they're going to be that big of a group of targets, then, does that make sense? I won't put him above Daniel Jones, because I don't think that Purdy has that rushing upside, so to speak. But I do think that it's it is kind of in that Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, kind of a realm.
Right. Yeah. I mean, honestly, if these Lions wide receivers keep getting banged up, then might have to go ahead of Jared Goff.
Yeah, speaking of banged up, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and see if we've got the video here.
All right, Earn Dog, what do we got? All right, here we go. Dun, 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 dun. I mean, that didn't look that bad.
His reaction looks bad.
His reaction looks bad.
His reaction looks bad.
Getting hurt to a soundtrack.
I don't know. That didn't look like, like a non-contact, like, oh my God, the dude just fell and crumbled to the ground.
Yeah, he might have just got rolled up on. It may just be a sprain.
Yeah.
It may just be fine.
Positivity. I wish going to put some positivity on it. It'll be just fine.
Yeah, I'm sending all my vibes to Traylon Burks right now.
Send your vibes to
for
Burks,
healing.
people.
Hey, before we jump back to some injury news, there's actually a question here in the chat room, and I'm not just going here because Chris Weaver's saying I love you, Howard Bender, because I love you too, Chris Weaver, and you know it, buddy. You know it. That's Chris Weaver from NFL Films, everybody. If you ever saw the well, let's see. How about just go easy for those of you who know me. If you ever saw the video of Fish doing the Russell Wilson, the Wilson chant in the Gorge in Washington, and asking Seahawks fans to jump in on that. That was a brilliant short. That was done by Chris Weaver, who also did the whole Nick Mangold meeting Trey Anastasio at Madison Square Garden a couple of years back. So he's clearly talking about where I have Jahmyr Gibbs in the cheat sheet right now, and he's asking why I don't believe that Jahmyr Gibbs should be drafted as a top 20 running back here, because this top 20 might be a little that's a little deep. Where do I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? I've got him listed 12th there. I've got him listed as an early third round pick in the cheat sheet.
That's reasonable.
I'm not in on him, because I do have some concerns that he could be DeAndre Swift 2.0. Great out of college. Oh, we're going to line him up in the slot. Oh, we're going to line him up everywhere. He's going to be a wide receiver. He's going to do anything. And what happened? Jamal Williams ended up being the lead running back while DeAndre Swift got phased out. And even if you look at what's going on in Philadelphia right now, Kenneth Gainwell's getting all the traction, not DeAndre Swift, not even Rashad Penny. So that's my big concern about Jahmyr Gibbs. But I'll ask you guys here your thoughts. Who wants to go first?
I'll go
I'll
first.
jump in here.
We have an art. If you want our full thoughts on this, Chris, me and Britt wrote an article. She did the pro, I did the cons. For me, I'm with Howard, where they could have just brought Jamal Williams back on a cheap deal. Instead, they paid up for David Montgomery, and then they went and got Jahmyr Gibbs. And again, everyone says he's going to play the slot. First week of preseason, he played a ton. He played 18 snaps and played 0 at the slot. And people have been coming to me and saying, "Oh, well, it's because they're keeping these plays secret." It's like, so you are aware of a top secret playbook that the rest of us, it's too sensitive for them to practice it. That's the situation here. I think maybe he is just going to be a part-time back, and the team realizes they need 2 backs to succeed. That doesn't mean both those guys can't be fantasy relevant. It's just he goes in the range where I'm still taking guys that are 3-down backs.
See, I just love his receiving upside. And when you've got a back that catches the ball that much, with his potential, with his draft capital, with the way that he's been working with the receivers in training camp, instead of the other running backs, I think that they have a real big plan for this guy. And he's looked so good and so explosive. Any touches that he gets, he's going to do a lot with it. I think that there is room for both backs, like you mentioned, Coop, but with the receiving upside, I think that Gibbs is worth a 3rd round pick. So.
I just put the link to the article, to the player debate that you guys did over into the YouTube channel. So you guys should be able to see that. I don't know why it's not coming up here for us here on Restream, but it's there in YouTube. And you can just go to fantasyalarm.com under the NFL tab. Under weekly fantasy football, you'll see fantasy football advice. And that's actually right where, where we're sitting here as far as fantasy football advice for all of our player debates that we're doing right now, that we're rolling out there. So you can definitely check it out. Weaver leaning towards Britt's point of view here. All right. Well, that's why Weaver hasn't won the Jam on Fantasy Football League, and I don't know how long. Yeah, that trophy. That trophy? That one right there.
Oh, there it is. Jam on, baby.
Just throw me under the bus, Howard.
The wheels on the bus drive right over Britt. Right over. See, there you go, Coop. You're going to be able to start singing that one to your kids soon.
That's right. Read the article, and then you can make your own decision with all the information available.
You didn't win last year. You were like a co-winner there last year, Weaver. It was like the non-championship year.
A win is a win. A win,
win
is a win.
We'll
All
have to
right,
see
so
about
let's run through the last bit of these injury updates. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams both suffered leg injuries in practice today. Not great. Panthers head coach Frank Reich said that Miles Sanders and his groin injury is getting close to a return to practice. Cardinals tight end Zach Ertz was activated from the PUP list. Ravens cornerback Marlon Humphrey is set up to miss extended time because he needs surgery on a foot injury every year, man. And Russell Gage was unfortunately carted off the field after a non-contact injury, and the ailment is season ending.
Yeah.
So huge bummer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very curious to see what happens with the Amon-Ra St. Brown injury, because we did our bold predictions for the Fantasy Alarm Draft Guide, which you guys can get www.fantasyalarm.com/draft guide. Get the draft guide, the cheat sheet, hell, get the All Pro subscription. Just get it all.
Get it going
right there. You take a 7-day free trial and check that out for sure. But in the bold predictions, we have something it's called impact injury, and the intent behind that is not just who do you think's going to get hurt. It's who could get hurt, and really, like, what happens to the team? What happens to that offense? What, is it really, you could say, yeah, Pat Mahomes, he goes down with an injury, huge impact on the Chiefs. I actually put Amon-Ra St. Brown because my question is, where do they go with that if he gets hurt? Like, their receiving core sucks. Jameson Williams isn't coming back until week 7.
Jahmyr Gibbs. Then I would draft Jahmyr Gibbs. If Amon-Ra was out for the season, I would take Jahmyr Gibbs at RB12.
Yeah, probably. But then you're still looking at, at a tough situation.
It would demolish them. And there's a lot of teams like that. And I talked about it with on Quickouts with Impemba, that it's why I'm betting the under on certain teams. Another one for me is the Bills. That's a team where, just like ARSB, if Stephon Diggs goes down, we're talking 150 targets, right? To a guy that earned those targets. And now you got to figure out what to do, how to get all those first downs again. That's what we forget in the fantasy world, is they don't care about targets. They don't care about anything else. There's 2 things they care about. They care about getting first downs and then hopefully getting touchdowns. That's the only thing that matters in a football game when you really boil it down. And Amon-Ra St. Brown is a first down machine. So you lose that guy, you lose your go-to guy on third down, it's big trouble. Like Howard said, Stephon Diggs is one of those guys. It's easy to say Justin Jefferson and guys like that, but even those teams have other options. These 2 teams, the Lions and Bills, I feel like they didn't do enough this offseason. I'm betting the under on the win totals for both teams.
Somebody tell Scott Frankel to shut up. Marvin Jones and Khalif Raymond.
Yeah, Marvin Jones, dude.
No.
All right, let's
Khalif Raymond and Richie James have already been mentioned. This is the Matt Deutsch special.
Bingo card.
It really is.
Shout out to the Better Boss.
The Better Boss special.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's pivot off of this sad news here, because I think the more we talk about injuries, the more we're gonna lose Britt mentally here. She's just gonna, I know. I see it in your eyes, Britt. You're like, Treylon. We'll wait.
And Sellers got a flat.
And Sellers got a flat too. So there you go. Sellers and Treylon Burks a flat on the same day. We'll see what happens.
When it rains, it pours.
Exactly. All right. So we'll leave the little bit of the news behind here. We'll move on to something that's a little more exciting for draft purposes. And that's not just regular drafts, but also in best ball drafts as well. I want to shout it out to our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. You guys, if you haven't started playing on Underdog Fantasy, you really need to get on over there. And we've got a fantastic deal right now for you. Go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog. And when you sign up for the very first time and you make your first deposit, use the promo code ALARM and you'll get a 100% match deposit up to $100. That's 4 entries into the Best Ball Mania 4 contest that they're running, which is what, 3 million to the top prize there. So you're looking at some fantastic stuff. It's underdog. It's fantasyalarm.com/underdog, promo code alarm for that match deposit. And I mean, listen, best ball contests are going on all the time. They're doing drafts left and right, from, as low as $3 to jump in on one of these drafts. They've got fantastic pick'em contests. Their new weekly winners, that's actually going to be really cool. That's a best ball format where they're doing payouts every single week. It's not just boom, first, start of the season. So you're going to want to get on that. It's like 20 grand per week, 20 grand per week. Underdog's giving out just for first place. And then they're paying out like a ton of other people there. So what we want to do right now is we want to take a look at some of the ADP risers and fallers according to Underdog Fantasy. So Britt, you pulled a tremendous amount of data here that we can take a look at. Who's on the rise?
Yeah, one of the biggest movers over the past week has been rookie Tank Dell from Houston. His ADP last week, just 7 days ago, was at 213.5. Today, it's at 184.8. That's an ADP change of 28.7. That's more than 2 rounds this guy has gone up in. It's crazy. But if y'all were around when he got drafted, I talked him up. I knew that he was going to fit in well with this offense. His college profile is great. And everything that we saw from that Houston preseason game was amazing, tremendous, wonderful, excellent. All the superlatives that you can describe for Tank Dell.
Too small.
Nah.
Too small. Next player.
That's it. But he's still going only in the 15th-ish. I mean, you're not taking him, even though he's moved up 2.5 rounds. He's still very cheap. Like in a best ball format, would you not be willing to take him in the 15th round?
In best ball, the problem you run into with these guys, the guys like Andrew Hawkins and Rondell Moore, is twofold. One is that the run blocking is almost non-existent a lot of times. It's a skill you got to develop if you want to play a full snap share. The other is these guys end up being crazy low ADOT, which in best ball, it's so hard to have you need a touchdown to have a big spike week. Like Underdog, which we play on, is half PPR. So that's my worry for a guy like that. I'm still on John Mechie and Nico Collins, but I can see it. I mean, you got to root for guys like that, but I'm not. He's 165 pounds.
Yeah.
Scott said, good things come in small packages.
What I'm trying to figure out is, where is the wormhole in this world? Because obviously in like the realm of being John Malkovich, we've got being Britt Flynn. And somewhere there's like a wormhole where the Better Boss just crawled in and got the Richie James talk in there. And now Colby Conway is clearly in there serving as a puppeteer. And we're talking Tank Dell. This is getting a little creepy. Who's next, Britt?
Next is Kareem Hunt. A little bit puzzled on him. I think that he moved up because people were thinking he was going to sign with the Saints and then the Colts, but he never did. But he still moved up quite a bit. Last week, he was at 203.1, and now he's at 182.4. So that's a change of 20.7, just over a round and a half. Do you guys think that he's going to get signed? Do we think that he's going anywhere? I mean, what do you think?
I mentioned this to Howard last week, and I truly think that the jobs he's interviewing for should take him completely off our board. Like the good jobs were the ones that kind of just went, or at least for starters, the ones that went to Dalvin Cook and Zeke Elliott. Those were the good jobs available. The other ones are like the Dolphins, but it doesn't seem like anyone's going to go there. Or if anything happens with Mixon, maybe that spot. But Kareem Hunt he's the jobs he's going for are where you're like a scab, where the guy is suspended, so you play for 3 games. It's like Melvin Gordon signing with the Ravens because J.K. Dobbins is holding out, right? Like the job of maybe playing if Jonathan Taylor holds out, that's not a job that Dalvin Cook or Zeke would want to have. And we're already a little skeptical on those guys. So we're gonna grab Kareem Hunt for 3 games on the Saints. Miss me with Kareem Hunt at his ADP or at any ADP.
Yeah,
At
I'm
any
not
ADP.
in on that either. Right, are you in on him at all?
No, I don't think so. I think he was the lowest on my board out of all the free agents, and like Coop said, the jobs that he's interviewing for, not
He's
great if nobody else wants
he's
to see
Duke
him.
Johnson now.
Oh,
Oh, there you go. That's a pull. All right,
He's
then
Duke
let's
Johnson.
clear the deck on that one here. Britt, you got Kenneth Gainwell listed there as a another strong change in ADP. I'll ask you this. He was at 168.8. He's now at 152. Britt, I know Sellers is chirping in your ear about Gainwell all the time. Are you in?
I actually am a little bit. I'm not all in, but I'm getting more in, if that makes sense, because of the training camp reports, because of what we saw in the first preseason game. Gainwell and Boston Scott didn't play. They played Swift and then played Rashad Penny the majority of that game. I think that Gainwell already knows the system. He's been used heavily in the red zone. I mean, as much as you can be with a touchdown vulture like Jalen Hurts, and he's still super cheap. So why would you not take him out of those three when he has the lowest ADP of all?
Yeah, I mean, I just love that of all the steaming up that Sellers has done for Gainwell, that he didn't get him in the Scott Fish Bowl. That just makes me chuckle, dude.
He was so upset. Well, he got sniped. He was so upset.
He's been driving that train. And the reason I'm giving the fist bump is because I have a good amount of Kenneth Gainwell already. I don't want to see his ADP go up because I like him, but this just kind of speaks to our priors that we like this player. He looks good on tape. He didn't even have any sort of goal line job, but he was scoring from 10, 15 yards out at times. So I don't like his ADPs changing because I want more of him, but the fact that he's moving in the right direction while I already have him in some leagues is nice.
All right, couple of tight ends who are climbing up the ADP charts over at Underdog. I'm very curious as to what you guys think. I definitely like one more than the other, but we'll see how you guys match up with it. Luke Musgrave, he's climbed up about a little more than a round. He's climbed up another 16.8 spots in the ADP. Jake Ferguson, the Dallas Cowboys, he's climbed up about 16.3 spots on there. Britt, one or the other? Do you like one?
I think I like Musgrave over Ferguson, and that hurts me as a Cowboys fan because I want to have a good tight end, but I just don't have enough faith in Ferguson being that pass catcher. Musgrave, on the other hand, super speedy, super big, super great hands, and they don't have a lot of target competition over there. So I would definitely take a stab on him over Ferguson.
Verbal retweet.
All right, well, those are five of the top risers according to Underdog ADP analysis. Let's talk about some of the fallers here. Now, right off the bat, one of the biggest fallers obviously is Kendre Miller with the injury. I mean, that just makes sense. I mean, you guys are obviously downgrading him. Are you even thinking about drafting him now?
So it started sliding with the 3-game because everyone thought Kamara could get the whole season or 8 games or 6 games. 3 games? No, just give me Kamara. Kendre Miller, I'm out.
Yeah, that's too messy, unfortunately. In Dynasty, obviously he has a role, but in best ball, I don't know if he's really going to do anything with Jamal Williams still in front of him.
Okay. Mike Gesicki, another one who's dropping because of injury there as well. Maybe there was some Tyquan Thornton hype also going on that was kind of pulling him down. Separated shoulder, he's dropped about 15.4 spots in the ADP. That is more than a round. I don't really buy it. I mean, I'll let everybody kind of pass over him because I don't think a separated shoulder is knocking him out, for this season. And to me, it's still a free pick. Coop, you're a Patriots guy and the new tight end whisperer. So
this is kind of the opposite of the Gainwell situation where I'm like, yeah, let's move him all the way down. Let's make him free. And he's already pretty much free in your regular leagues. Let's make him free in every format because I'm in, man. I think he's going to play a lot of wide receiver. And that's all after you get outside the top few guys, all we can really ask for is a tight end that lines up at wide receiver. That's the difference maker. So I'll take that for sure. Let's move him all the way down to the end and I'll just get him for free.
Yeah, I think that there's a world where both he and Hunter Henry have some fantasy value in this offense. And the way that Bill O'Brien talks him up and the way that Bill Belichick has said historically that he's not a tight end, that he's a wide receiver, makes me think he's going to have a big role to play in this system. I'm not really worried about the injury.
That world already existed when Bill O'Brien called plays for this team and Gronk was the tight end 1 and Aaron Hernandez was the tight end 3. And all that happened while Wes Welker was getting 173 targets. Like, I know Tom Brady's not there, but we're not talking about tight end 1 or 3. We're talking about tight end like 27 or wherever he goes.
All right, let's stay with the tight end position here because here's one who actually I know Britt is a huge fan of, and that's Greg Dulcich. Apparently dropping, not a huge amount, 10.8, so less than a full round in a 12-team league. Britt, why is he dropping? Are you happy that he's dropping so that you can get more shares of him?
Yeah, he's only dropping because people are freaking out over the depth chart and Adam Troutman being listed as tight end 1. We talked about it on the show yesterday that just because you're listed as tight end 1 does not mean that you're going to be the primary pass catching tight end. And that's going to be the case here. I'm 100% certain of it. Keep him dropping, keep overreacting to depth chart hype, and just wait until that first game happens.
If your analysis consists of the depth chart and you move guys down based on that, then this is not the show for you. If you were doing depth chart based and that unofficial depth chart based analysis, then don't worry about it. Don't worry. Then you need the draft guide more than anyone.
I'm not going to dispute that at all. Honorable mention here goes to Breece Hall. Hasn't really moved much yet, but I'll ask you guys this one. How far do you think he could fall? I knocked him down a little bit in the cheat sheet when Dalvin Cook signed. How much are you downgrading him, Coop?
Pretty far.
Pretty far?
Yeah,
Both of you.
I moved down pretty far. The question of the day that everyone needs to answer is, do you take Dalvin Cook before Breece Hall? Because if you have Dalvin ranked ahead of Breece Hall now, which I actually have Dalvin one spot ahead, I'm gonna have no Breece Hall. That's the question that we all got to ask ourselves.
Well, in one of these high stake tournaments, he went in the 6th round last night. He's fallen quite a bit in these bigger tournaments. I think in best ball, we're going to see the change happen gradually. Next week when it comes out, I wouldn't be surprised if he drops, 15, 16, 17 spots. I think people are really going to overcorrect fast on the Dalvin Cook signing for him.
I think overcorrecting that much is going to be a problem for a lot of people. I really do. I mean, first and foremost, Dalvin Cook's not even ready to get back into practice yet.
True.
He's going to be out for a week. He had a shoulder cleanup procedure. And the reason, the reason to me that the Jets brought him in was strictly so that they didn't have to worry about Breece Hall re-injuring his knee the way Saquon Barkley did. And I think it's a very telling thing. I genuinely believe, yes, Dalvin Cook will probably get the majority of carries to start the season, but I think somewhere around, midway through, maybe week 6, week 7 even, that we'll start seeing Breece Hall getting the majority of carries in that offense, and Dalvin Cook will end up kind of, working his way in as a complementary back, and they'll have that 1-2 punch. I'm not saying it's, like 80-20 Breece Hall, but it could end up being more like a 60-40 sort of a situation. So I'm worried that people are overcorrecting too much right now.
Not to mention, I'll give you this, Howard. Dalvin Cook, this is now 2014, 2016, 2019, 2021, and 2021 that he has hurt his shoulder. That doesn't include the ACL. It doesn't include the concussion. That's just the years he's had shoulder issues that caused him to miss time and or have surgery. So, if you're placing bets on guys to miss time, Dalvin's got to be a guy that you put some money on.
Yeah, agreed. I just think that the Jets might run him into the ground while allowing Hall to kind of just sprinkle in here and there because he is the future. Like Cook's only on this 1-year deal. And
Exactly.
that's why I think that Hall might drop a little bit.
Yeah. And I'll throw another honorable mention out here because apparently those Texans stacks are dropping in the best ball format. CJ Stroud and John Mechie both diminishing here on the ADP trail. It's not huge, but apparently that's dropping because I'm sure everybody is now in on that Baker Mayfield, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans stack that I threw out there for everybody on yesterday's show.
This is a one day change exactly.
Want to thank our friends over at Underdog Fantasy, the ADP that we use here for their best ball tournaments that they're running right now. Again, go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog. All right, use the promo code ALARM when you sign up for the very first time. They'll match your deposit 100% up to $100. So you throw in $100, you get $100. That's 8 entries right off the bat to the Best Ball Mania 4. You could do 4 entries to the Best Ball Mania 4, and then you could spill the rest of it into some of the smaller state contests that they have over there. Either way, it's an absolute phenomenal deal. I highly recommend it. Fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Promo code ALARM gets you a 100% match deposit up to $100 for first-time depositors. All right, guys, let's turn around. We promised everybody, that we were going to have some fun with things today. The Treylon Burks saga, not fun. It's already upsetting Britt. Britt, if you're like me, which you're probably not, but I like to eat my feelings. So when I'm like super sad, single serving pint sizes of Ben and Jerry's, I just start shoveling that in, and it makes me feel bigger and better. But so let's eat our feelings here. What we're going to do today is we're going to talk football players, food. We're going to pair them up. Who is represented by what food? Who wants to start things off? I'm going to start with Britt Flynn. Britt Flynn, give us that first pairing. What are you looking for?
So I have Ryan Tannehill compared to oatmeal, and it's not exactly why you think. So on the face of it, they look plain, they look boring, they look just kind of meh. But if you spice it up a little bit, throw some apples, throw some cinnamon in there, or throw Treylon Burks or DeAndre Hopkins in there, then it gets a little bit more exciting. Throw a rushing touchdown in there. It's a little more exciting. You can make oatmeal whatever you want it to be if you add some toppings. And that for me is Ryan Tannehill. He's not just this plain boring quarterback, and he gets a lot of hate for no reason, just like oatmeal.
Britt just opened up her cupboards, and in there was a Treylon Burks knee injury. So she has to eat plain oatmeal now.
Sprinkle a little brown sugar on that.
Thanks.
A little brown sugar. You know what I like in my oatmeal? Maple syrup.
Yeah.
That's the play, dude. Just throw it right in there and pretend it's not just sugar, which it is.
There you go. So Coop now says that he wants to pour maple syrup all over you, Ryan Tannehill. Yes, it does come off a little creepy, but
Hit me up on Twitter.
Hit me up on Twitter. Coop, give me a food pairing. What do you got?
Okay, so people might not agree with this one, might be controversial, especially for people in Baltimore. But J.K. Dobbins, to me, is crab cakes, which, it's, again, not just because crabs in Baltimore. To me, crab cakes, every time I see them on a menu, I look at them and I'm like, that sounds good. And I order them and they come, and I was actually expecting something else. Like I'm expecting like the fried clam cakes or something that's just better. Like crab cakes to me are just not that good. So on paper, they look awesome. And look at Howard Bender. He's never ordering crab cakes. To me, the idea, I see them and I'm like, oh, nice. Or a wedding or whatever. Like, oh, yeah, we're gonna have crab cakes. And then I have one and I'm like, this is gross. And that's J.K. Dobbins to me. On paper, hey, 6.7 yards per carry looks good. But when is it ever actually good in fantasy?
Oh, Howard, are you okay there, buddy?
I'm just, I'm thinking, listen, I would, I'm allergic to shellfish. I would probably eat a crab cake before I would draft J.K. Dobbins. Not gonna lie.
They could both kill
feelings.
you. Yeah,
Gross.
I feel
They
you
could
on
both
that.
kill you.
Gross.
Howard, what you got?
All right, I want to just shout out Hal Alexander in there for CMC. Christian McCaffrey is Rocky Road ice cream. A little bit of everything.
Yeah,
does
it? Going Hal.
I like it, man. You know it. I love me some Rocky Road ice cream. No doubt. Oh, Scott Frankel had a crab cake in this Charlotte airport.
What is it with the hashtag family and eating crab this weekend? Didn't
I don't even know.
Wendy had I forget who it was. Had
Wendy and Kevin both had crab cakes, eggs Benedict.
I know. I bought them breakfast because I felt bad. I figured they were going to be vomiting for the rest of the day. Bijan Robinson prime rib. You know what? Bijan Robinson prime rib with a baked potato and some cream spinach on the side. That's what I'm talking about. That is the King's dinner. And Bijan Robinson, I don't care if the dude from The Athletic says only 301, touches. You know what? In honor of Card Sharks, I'm going to say, guys, that I think that number is going to be a little bit higher there for Bijan Robinson. So get your knife, get your fork, you got your steak, you got your Bijan.
Yeah, that's what's up. You're on death row, and they say you get one last meal, and you just say Bijan Robinson.
Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I'm totally down with that. Love it.
I got to jump in on one real quick because Mr. Scamper said Kareem Hunt is candy corn, and I actually had a player, Tyler Boyd, was going to be candy corn for me, and basically it's that nobody likes it, but it's always there. It's always there, and somebody always puts their hand in and grabs some and has some, and they're like, well, and afterwards they're like, why did I eat that? That's Tyler Boyd. He always gets drafted, and he's just kind of there, and nobody knows why. Nobody knows why they take him. Nobody knows where it comes from. Where does the candy corn even come from? Like, it's just there. It's just there.
It's processed sugar. My wife is a big candy corn fan, so better watch it, guys. I have lawn ornaments. that are like this big, right? That are candy corn that light up. So
yeah, it's her
Well,
and
candy corn's
Linda.
cute.
Linda also likes candy corn. It doesn't make any sense.
No, I can like taste the artificial flavorings in candy
no,
corn.
it's like eating wax, dude. Yeah. You know,
all right, let's keep rolling here. What do you got, Britt? Because
So-
we got a bunch of them here. So and I want to get to as many as we can.
Okay, let's go.
So Mike Evans is a potato because has anybody ever had a bad potato? A potato always gets the job done. A potato is so versatile. A potato can be used in many different ways or with many different quarterbacks, as can Mike Evans. A potato gets the job done and makes you happy. When Mike Evans has 1,000-yard seasons year after year after year, he makes you happy. And that's why Mike Evans
That's
is
true.
a
Potato.
Week to week too, though. It's like 1 week you might get that like twice baked potato, that like a really fancy one, right? And it's like, yeah, I love these. And then another, another week he has that 3 for 30 week, and it's like, just taking a bite out of a raw potato.
I'm crying.
Keep going, Coop. What do you got?
So I'll tell. This is a combo one. Jacoby Myers and Hunter Renfrow. They're those popsicles that have the 2 sticks, and you wonder why the heck. Like when I see those popsicles, I'm like, why is it one popsicle with 2 sticks? Like, what's the purpose of that? Where when they signed Jacoby Myers and they already had Hunter Renfrow, I was like, why did they do that? And the other part is that if you even want like the full thing, you almost need to like try and take them apart and have one just be the stick and one get the whole thing. And even then, you don't even know if you have anything. And that is what would happen if Jacoby Myers got hurt or Hunter Renfrow got hurt. You might get a popsicle, but it'd still be a pretty bad popsicle, like a full popsicle. Instead, you just got half a popsicle.
Britt, you have a fun fact about the 2-stick popsicle.
I do. It was invented in World War II as a solution to rationing.
Well, how? Well, were you supposed to share them?
Split it. Yeah, you split it, and then you gave like one to each of your kids. One
I don't
side.
know if you've ever tried splitting one of those, but one kid's going to be disappointed, dude. And I think
Three
one
on
of
a
these
match.
kids,
3 on a match is bad luck. 2 on a popsicle, right on.
I think one of these kids is going to be disappointed.
Yep.
Cortland Sutton is Kraft macaroni and cheese. Because, you take a look at the box in the supermarket, you're like, really? Am I going to buy Kraft macaroni and cheese? We all remember it from childhood, and, everybody kind of looks down on that at all. But then all of a sudden, you taste some of it, and you're like, damn. You're brought back to a time where you're happy, you're enjoying yourself, and Kraft macaroni and cheese, and that's what's happening. That's what's happening. Cortland Sutton's going to go into that time warp this year, and he's going to be a dominant wide receiver in that offensive scheme for the Broncos. And you're going to be like, damn, I love me some Kraft macaroni and cheese. Screw you, Velveeta.
That's what it's like when I draft with somebody else too. It's like me and my wife deciding what to eat for dinner. Like we see that part of the draft board and we're like, let's just have mac and cheese. And immediately we're both like, yes, let's just do that. That'll be easy. That's what it's like drafting Cortland Sutton. Like, that's an easy one.
All right, we got a couple of minutes left here. Britt, where are you going next?
I'm going with Daniel Jones being Chipotle guacamole because it's fine and it gets the job done, but it's overpriced and and people talk about it too much.
It's true, yeah. And I think that it's funny that people talk about the price of the guacamole on a regular basis. And Daniel Jones is one that he comes up way too much. He truly does. Yeah. You got another one, Howard?
What do you got?
Yeah, you go. I did 3 already.
Did you? All right. Aaron Rodgers is foie gras, right? It's all fancy schmancy, and you think it's all highfalutin, but deep down, it's just gross. Just gross.
And nobody actually likes it.
Nobody really likes foie gras. They always claim to, but they really don't.
Yeah.
Can we make it another round? I'll just say it here. Dak Prescott, soup dumplings. You look at a plate of soup dumplings, you're like, wow, this looks great. This looks great. You know, you don't know really what you're up against here. So you pop one into your mouth and then it blows up in your face. That's Dak Prescott right there.
I'm going to say that Amon-Ra St. Brown is food truck tacos. So on the outside, you look at it, it's kind of beat up, kind of shabby. But then you have these tacos, and they are the most amazing tacos you've ever put in your mouth in your life. That's what Amon-Ra St. Brown has done. 4th round draft capital. Nobody was expecting much, but damn, has he been good.
If Amon-Ra St. Brown is food truck tacos, then Michael Thomas has lately been a gas station burrito, where it seems like such a good idea at the time. And you think you're walking away with house money, but very soon you'll be paying for it.
And Treylon Burks is now a one-stick popsicle. So let's just remember that. Oh, that's going to do it for us here on Alarm Fantasy Football. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Absolutely love having you here. For Britt Flynn, for Andrew Cooper. Big thanks to Ernie Acosta, our producer. I'm Howard Bender. We'll catch you next time.